Let's talk all about AI in business. It's hosted by Brent Muller. Welcome to the Future Proof Podcast.
Hi, and welcome to the latest episode of Future Proof, the podcast where we're decoding how founders, leaders, and execs are reshaping the business landscape using AI, data, and automation. So if you're looking to future-proof your business, you're definitely in the right place. Before we jump into today's episode, as we always do here at Deploy AI, if you're trying to understand where AI fits in or where you need to start or just you have some general questions, we're always happy to talk. There's a link in every one of our episodes to book 30 minutes with us. We're happy to chat. No pitch. We're here to help. But let's jump into today's episode. I'm thrilled to be joined by Travis Herndon from HK Digital Media. Travis, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brent.
Awesome. So as we always do, let's jump right in. Let's talk about your leader's journey and leading up to being with HK.
Yeah, sure thing. So Travis Herndon here, co-founder of HK Digital. We are a performance marketing agency, focused on paid search, paid social, and the like. But as far as the journey, started a little over 12 years ago at a kind of small boutique, paid search agency. Back when segmenting keywords and being really in the nitty gritty and trying to, figure out Google's algorithm was very, manual work with a lot of levers to pull. And I say that because we live in a very different world now.
Very different.
But I built a good foundation kind of being early on there. So mostly worked throughout various different agencies throughout my career. And eventually, let's call it like 2018, decided, okay, I've got enough skills at this point to maybe, do some things on my own. Like many in my position, started doing freelance work, taking on my own book of business and, knock on wood, lots of good things, happened for me and it all kind of fell into place. And it really became a game of capacity. So that's when I went to my friend, who's now co-founder, and said, hey, let's actually build something. This freelance thing is working. Clearly, the digital space is not ever going to slow down and we're doing good work here. So let's try to build a team and kind of build a new ethos around that. And that's how HK Digital was kind of born.
Love it. And so tell us about HK and who you serve and, again, the e-commerce world. And so kind of just a couple examples of stuff that you guys are doing.
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, so HK is focused on paid media. Our primary client base tends to be e-commerce, those that are actually selling product online. And we've kind of accidentally slipped into a niche of luxury apparel, luxury cosmetics, and a lot of kind of household names in that space that we've worked with. And I'll say, really, HK Digital was built out of kind of my past agency experience, my co-founder's agency experience, and really identifying the flaws or all of the cons that any person out there would give you with working with an agency and trying to, flip that on its head.
Yeah.
So, there's certainly a lot around the optimizations themselves, but a lot of it is also just being a different kind of agency.
Yeah. Yeah. And I totally get that. And I think, and you're talking at a high level, which I love, right? What most people out there don't understand is how difficult e-commerce really is to track products all the way through funnels and how much data moves within an e-commerce funnel versus other funnels, right? And again, I'm very intimately aware of that. One of my partners, he's got a share in an e-commerce company, and he tells me all of the craziness that they deal with. So the fact that you guys do it with no sweat is fantastic because I know there's a lot that goes into it.
Surely, yeah. And, we could definitely talk about all the intricacies of, paid media optimization itself. But I feel maybe your friend would agree, people that work at brands, part of their complaint all the time is just dealing with communication with their darn agency, right? I feel like just one example, right, is many agencies operate with this kind of, I'll call it a bloated team structure, right? You have an account manager that you talk to as the client, but oftentimes they're not really doing any of the work. They then have like their paid search person behind them, their social person, the analytics team, the creative team, and everything kind of gets farmed out to another team member. And so the communication is this game of telephone between the client, the account manager, and all these different specialists.
Right.
So that's certainly one area where, over my career, I identified all this bloat and inefficiency and frustration from the clients that we built HK Digital to be completely different. So our structure is very flat. The account manager that, the client talks to is the one doing the talking, doing the work, doing the reporting and the creative, basically a true full stack marketer that, the clients have direct access to. So it's really intended to be this like direct to expert, streamline experience, so that even before we get into all the nuts and bolts of whatever, how paid media works and how Google's algorithm works and things like that, it's really just an easier working environment.
Right. And I love that model because, and I think you're right, everything gets lost in translation. So the more people you put between the people actually executing and the people running the brand, is too many things get misconstrued, miscommunication. And it's funny because, we talk about AI and we'll get into that in a little bit, but Travis, I don't know about your experience. One of the things that AI is starting to cut through is our communication mess. And it's not easy, right? And sometimes we go too far with it, right? I had a founder on the other day and he goes, listen, a couple of my account managers start writing emails to me and they're using ChatGPT. And he's like, he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, I've known you for 10 years or 12 years. He's like, there's no way you wrote this email. But He's like, start getting better with it. But I do think, to your point, we're starting to get better at streamlining communications and cutting through what the problem you just talked about. But let's talk about the industry, right? E-commerce in general, because I get into a lot of things that I think are coming. But I want to get your perspective on the shift that you've seen over the last couple of years, and then obviously where you see it going over the next couple.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like just about every person I'm sure you've talked to, this shift is everything is becoming more and more automated and algorithm driven. But I would say we're still, for the foreseeable future, short-term future, we're still kind of stuck in this middle ground where, okay, Facebook automated bidding strategies or tools like Google's like Performance Max and things that are very automated, they still have to be kind of controlled with the human eye and with, experience and
agree, yeah.
Knowing what you want the platform to do. What I feel like a lot of people always say, wow, these algorithms are so smart, or this AI is so smart. It's not really smart, right? It's impressive. It can do a lot of things, but it's actually, by definition, kind of dumb.
Yeah, you have to teach it.
You have to teach it. It's only going to work with what you're putting into it.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out, right? Algorithms, every algorithm is garbage in, garbage out. Yes.
You got it right completely. Everything from the first party data that you're giving to these platforms to enhance their ability to like find your audience, but even just simple campaign settings that are nuanced. You forget to check a certain box, and now all of a sudden your campaign is only going after your current customers, and you're getting no growth, you're getting no exposure to new users.
Right.
So I guess as far as the shift, back to kind of your question, the shift is happening and you got to lean in, right? So I'm not sitting here saying like old school's the only way, like forget all the new toys.
It's a blend though, right? Yeah.
It's a blend. You got to thread that needle. And then part of our jobs as consultants, right? We're an agency, we're paid media consultants. I think part of our jobs is also to just guide the understanding, even when something is fully automated, guide the understanding of what is really happening. What is that tool doing for you? What is that app doing for you? I use a cheesy metaphor all the time. I always compare it to when you go to like a mechanic shop and they use that little diagnostic tool to plug in and see what's up with your car. That's fine. It's effective. They're going to find the problem. But there's that person that only knows how to use that diagnostic tool versus, let's say, the experienced mechanic that has, rebuilt a car from the ground up and, can do that part of it and also use the tool. That person, you could trust them to be able to unpack even a brand new beta because they've just understood the machine for so long and so detailed that, they can decide when to lean in and lean out of automation.
Yeah, I totally agree. Here at Future Proof, we always call AI at this point digital coworkers, or if it's automation, right? Whatever it is.
Sure.
And because I feel like what your example is spot on, right? I feel like if you give AI or a great automation tool or platform to a really good A or B player on your team, it's going to make them infinitely better. But like you said, if you're giving it to somebody that's brand new and that's all they can do, right, they're not going to move the needle, right?
Right.
And so you really want to empower your team to use these things in the best and brightest or highest use and maximum impact value, right?
Sure.
And that's why I love what you said, right? It's a blend of using experience and some of the stuff that's tried and true with some of these things and combining them to see what we can unlock next.
Absolutely. And I feel that way, especially with, the brand new tools and betas that come out from platforms like Google and Meta, because I think for a lot of brand owners, or let's say people that are not, super deep into the paid media industry, these are the gods of the industry: Google, Facebook. Whatever they say goes, and whatever they say must be right. So they try these new tools, and without any sort of understanding of how they work, they kind of inherently just trust them, and whatever that tool said it was going to do, they're like, yeah, it's doing it. You kind of have to have that expert to give it the smell test, right?
Yeah.
Of like, okay, this said it was going to whatever maximize conversions and raise my reach beyond belief, and I turned it on and I'm super happy. You need an expert to be able to then pull the data in the most raw format to say if it's working the way you think it actually is. So I think that's really important as well. Is, like, again, don't stay away from AI, but raise an eyebrow and test
Yeah.
it and really get out of the walled garden and analyze it to a level that you can prove what's working, what's not.
Yeah. And listen, there's still hallucinations. There's all kinds of stuff that AI is just not this perfect thing. And we do tell everybody
Always.
that is that everything we build here at Deploy, everything I talk to people like yourself that have tools, they all have human in the loop, right? There's checkpoints, right? To your point.
Yep.
And it's, hey, did this move the needle the way we thought it was? Was it, positive or lower? And then we figure out how to make tweaks and go forward. It's still a tool at this point. Exactly what you said.
Completely.
Yeah. The other thing, Travis, I wanted to ask you about is, I've talked to a bunch of people in the e-commerce field, right? And I, by no means am I an expert there. It's just I've talked to enough people, and I want to get your take is because as you know, right, and I've said this on this podcast before, is that e-commerce is one of, if not the fastest growing segment. It's not going to slow down. People are much more brand aware, brand loyal, brand enthusiasts than ever before. They care about who they're buying from, which really is exciting if you think about it, right?
Definitely.
What I want to know is, where do you see things going in the next 18 months? Because AI is going to impact this, right? And I'll have some follow-up questions for you, but I just kind of want to get your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of touch on two different things. I mean, I wanted to go back a little bit to your question on AI enhancing communication and kind of what we've used at HK Digital, and then talk more about the paid
Please
media
do. Yeah, I
itself.
love it.
But so I think one thing that we've been trying to lean on at HK is where we can streamline communication, even from a statistics and KPI perspective. We need to. So I'll give you one example. All of our clients are in Slack channels with us. Well, we've connected APIs directly to each marketing platform that will send just basic daily reports back into Slack. But more importantly, it'll send like KPI alerts. So we set up custom rules, like if your conversion rate goes up by 30% or down or what have you, it'll ping that channel immediately saying, hey, look, like your Google conversion rate is down or up, or hey, something you need to take a look at. And now instantaneously, the client team sees what's going on. We see what's going on, and we know to jump in there and take a look. So it's things like
Fantastic,
that, like,
by the way. People would love that.
I appreciate it. We're trying to get it out there. But it's kind of like, I feel like another common example of where that helps is like if something goes awry on a Friday afternoon, in most cases, that problem lingers until Monday at least. And then either the client or the agency goes, oh crap, like things have been going bad for the last 3 days. With this tool, again, that instantaneous Slack bot, like notification on that Friday afternoon, someone's going to jump on it, fix it, optimize. So I kind of backpedaled on your questions there, but just I wanted to go back to how AI can really help communication.
100%. It's a great example.
One example.
It's a great use case, right? And I'll kind of piggyback on this, Travis. We get a lot of founders on here and they're like, oh, I don't know where to start. To me, I tell them, where are some of the pain points and bottlenecks in your business, right? Don't think top line revenue right off the bat. Where are those big bottlenecks, right? That in your business, if you really took a step back and figure out where are the high impact that if I solve this, it would free my team up. What you're talking about right there
start with the problem.
That's a beautiful use case to solve, because, I've been around enough agencies in my life that nobody builds that, right? They can now with AI, right? It makes it a lot easier, right? But no one really does that. And your clients must love you for that.
It's really nice tool. It's even something we've been able to kind of sell, even if they don't need our full services. We just, hey, use this Slack bot, you'll love it. Yeah. And when you said I don't know where to start, it kind of triggered another thought in my head. I feel like a lot of teams, or even just individual team members out there, thinking about AI and reading about AI and wondering, like, how the heck, where do I start? Like, I'm so far behind, I don't know how to get going. Yeah. We've tried to really push our team to get into any sort of AI, even if it's not work relevant. I'll give you an example. We did a project just this last week where we said, hey, take all of your listening history from Spotify, right? Take all your music and figure out through ChatGPT or any other platform out there, Cursor or Replit or any of this stuff, figure out a way to create some sort of insight or report or data manipulation using your music. And so, for the most part, a lot of people, they download their files, and even right away, they're like, what do I do with these JSON files? Like, this is not something I normally, work with. But it's about encouraging like this safe space, right, for your team. And I encourage all other agency founders, or really any leaders.
It's a cool project. Yeah.
Encourage their team to just play around and be comfortable being uncomfortable with it and see what you can do. Because you said it earlier. I mean, right now AI it can enhance everybody if they just kind of give it a go, right? Just give it a try.
Well, and the thing I love the most that you just said is that you empowered your whole team, right? Because one of the things we really hammer here is, because I've had enough founders say, oh, I'll just give that to my CTO or CIO. I'm like, no, AI is not IT. They need to get that out of their head. Everybody should be using it in some way, shape, or form, just for their particular job function. So I love that project, because what that project does is it gets them over their fear, right? And says, wait, I can do some stuff, myself, and I don't need some technical thing. Because the best part about, even if you get JSON, you can ask ChatGPT to tell you how to use it, right? And then that starts to bring that, even the risk, the garage door, it lifts it up a little bit more. Like, hey, I can do this.
Yeah, and we've really encouraged that, and we've even used a little self-deprecation to kind of get them in the mood. Because I'll tell them I am a marketing expert. I am not an AI programmer. I don't know how to do dev work, things like that. But hey, look, I built this thing the other day because I just started typing into different platforms and see what I can get. I think like you said, don't try to worry about, does this make money? Does this have a deliberate purpose yet? It's just think about maybe some problems you're trying to solve, or just things that might be fun that will kind of open you up to leaning into AI.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did very similar, I love the Spotify one, right? Because it's a way to get them over the hump, right? Of, I don't know where to do it. What we did is said, hey, start having a conversation. And I don't care what model you use, whether it's Grok or Claude or ChatGPT. And by the way, anybody that hasn't played with Grok 4, please go play with it. It's unbelievable. But I was playing with Claude, right? And I just was, and the reason is I'd heard that they had a Lovable plugin. And I said, we've been trying to, with our presentations, just have we have 4 variables we talk on go to market growth, right? And I just said, hey, if I had my client put these 4 variables in, the presentation would be much more on point. It could be more dynamic. And it built me an interactive calculator that I published to the web in 5 minutes. And I went, that worked. And so I showed my team, I'm like, this is the kind of stuff you guys don't know that you can just do. So just go play with it and ask it what it can do. And so that's why I think if we can get more people to start playing with it, like you said, and just understanding that there's a lot it can do, maybe it opens their mind up. I think this is why Mark Cuban said, the future hires are going to be your bachelor of arts, right? The more creative you are, right? The more because AI can do the technical stuff now, right? And it's like, hey, how can we unlock things that were, we were boxed in? Because if you like, and I came from a much more technical background when I started, and Travis, like to me, like I boxed myself in my thinking, right? And you think about people that are creative, right? They don't necessarily do that. And I think this is going to expand. So I think that one of the things we're doing is thinking about adding more creative people to our team for that reason, because I just don't think anybody has the answers yet.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Yeah, we're not done by a long shot. But yeah, I think your point is totally valid. Where don't stress about the how, or like even when you're using an AI tool, you're running. Like, well, how's it going to understand this and build this? Just type in whatever lamest prompts that you have and see what it does. Yeah, absolutely
totally agree. All right, well let's get back to your e-commerce, because I feel like you have some really behind the curtain peaks of this industry. Where do you see, because I've heard some things I'm going to ask you as a follow-up, but where do you see things going in the next 18 months? And the reason I say 18 months is because AI is reshaping things so fast. I don't think anybody can look beyond that.
Right. Yeah. So definitely agree with that. I mean, I would say from a if I were talking to my clients or talking to brands, I would say the things that you need to focus on the most is data capture and just measurement. So don't overlook, API updates on Facebook that you need to, have server to server tracking. Like, don't overlook that. Even if you don't have to understand it and you have to get somebody else to do it for you, extremely important. Right. And same thing with Google enhanced conversions and things like this. You need to make sure that whatever media you're putting out there, you're tracking and bringing in as much data as possible. That's not a new concept, right. But it's become, I think, a little harder for people to wrap their brain around, because it used to just be like, oh yeah, I put a pixel, I'm done. Like, we're good. Now it takes a little bit more heavy lifting, but still, just don't overlook measurement. Make sure the measurement is there. And that gets me to kind of the next piece, and we talked about it earlier, is you need to then have your own internal database that you can kind of give to Google, give back to Facebook and say, I don't know, these are my VIP customers. These are, or maybe this is an emerging market that I don't have a big market share in yet, but I'd like to do more with. And if you have that first party data to enhance their learning, much quicker than going through whatever a 6-month learning phase with their pixel, you're gonna save a lot of money, because again, you're speeding up the learning phase. And just the quality and the results is going to be just tremendous, a lot faster. All of that aside, so I feel like a lot of that's like very like technical, right? One thing that's not technical that still gets overlooked to this day is quality creative, and of course, testing as much as you can. But yeah, I find with so many of my brands, especially with like the commodity that Shopify is nowadays, right? So they come up with their products, they put it on Shopify, and then creatively they kind of stop or plateau. They got everything's live and they got their product shots, but there's nothing left. And every paid media manager in the world can tell you how to structure your campaigns and tweak this setting and this and that. But if you don't have beautiful creative, a variety of creatives and things like that to test, you're going to be stuck in the mud for a while. Looks like we might be a little frozen.
I totally agree. So, and I wanted to ask you as a follow-up, Travis, one of the things I've heard from several e-commerce folks that are tracking trends is that, and again, I don't follow the Asian markets. Someone had told me 30 to 35% of all e-com selling in Asia is done through live selling, social media live selling. Are you hearing that? And is that a trend that's coming to the US? I have no idea what happened. The best part is it's all good. Riverside just lost its mind and kicked me out.
All good, yeah. I figured I would just hang tight.
And I'll just cut that out. Like, it's still recording, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So let me ask you the final 2 questions, and then I'll just have my team splice it. I apologize. It's done it 3 times. I've done over 250 episodes. Never had a problem. I just think more people are using it, and I don't know. So I think I might have to just have a separate computer just for podcasting going forward, but we'll see. Anyway.
All good. I'm glad it wasn't me.
Yeah, no, it was me. Totally. Thank you for staying on. So I will jump back in and go from here. So 3, 2, 1, and then I know where to cut it. Anyway, so Travis, tell me a little bit about how you believe AI is going to impact the next year and a half. And the reason I ask, right, as you were just alluding to, is that, and I don't know if you had heard my question, but we've had a couple people in e-com and said that the big trend in Asia markets is social live selling, right? And that is making its way west right here. Do you see that? And how does that fit in?
I don't have a ton of experience in that in particular. I think in my opinion, AI is going to change the way we go about things by eliminating all of the time wasting work, right? So if you're a brand trying to figure out how this report is looking or how to upload ads into any different platform, whatever, all that, we all need to learn to automate that and make that easy. And I think the idea is just that you need to get yourself in a position where you're not ever doing any of the dirty work and you're actually able to do some of the planning. So, I mean, yeah, with the social live selling or any a lot of the different virtual try on, augmented reality.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of bells and whistles out there that are emerging, but I tend to steer away from that question because I feel like as soon as I say what's cool now, it's going to be outdated in 2 months.
I agree. That's kind of how I feel too. Right? It's why I love having these interviews, right? Because no one knows, and it's changing so fast, no one can keep up with it. And so I think the right thing is, it kind of goes back to where you started, right? If you have the right strategy and you have someone with the experience that your team does, and they know what to look for, it doesn't matter if the technology is changing and getting better underneath, you just swap it out, right? So there's no need to chase the latest tools. Your team is going to test what works for your clients. And this is why I say to my my founders and CEOs, right, that are trying to build companies and build brands and whatever it is that you need trusted partners like HK to keep up with that particular area, right? Because there's no way you can. If you're running a company, you can't keep up with everything. And it's a futile effort, right? So yeah, I totally buy into that. As a matter of fact, that's been what we've been coaching a lot of folks to do is don't try. There's no one can keep up with it.
Yeah, to a certain extent, right? Yeah, don't try to do both sides of the job, right? I mean, that's why agencies exist. We should be able to take care of the technical side or keeping up with all the new betas and tools and AI. For brands, focus on the product, focus on the messaging, focus on getting creative that resonates with your brand, and then find a trusted partner that's going to give it to you straight, tell you what to lean into, what not, and bridge both worlds.
Yeah. And the coolest thing that you're doing to me are, right, again, you're doing a lot of fantastic things for brands, but the fact that the way you communicate and you have trigger alerts, right, to me is always what's missing with tons of agencies is the analytics piece. And you take it a step further in saying, not only that, when we see the analytics move up or down in the wrong direction too much, it should alert somebody for the team to go, hey, don't ignore that. Go look and see why.
Sure. And so on that note, kind of like you're saying, where's AI going? So even the agencies that are good at the analytics, it takes them so much time to bring out a great report or bring insight. And they'll say, oh, next weekly meeting, we'll give you everything that you asked for. Too slow. You can't, all of a sudden the moment is gone already on whatever you were going to analyze. So it should be real time as possible. That's why we set up those triggers. But that to me is a perfect example of, when people are dealing with agencies that are slow and responsive and reactive. Yeah, that's the part that AI, even if, they're not some sort of genius coder or data manipulator, they should be able to leverage AI to get over that hump and give clients pretty close to instantaneous answers on whatever they're looking for.
I totally agree with you. Yep.
Another version of that too is agencies that are good at analytics. They'll throw the world at you, right? Every metric and segment you could possibly imagine. And then as a brand manager, you stare at it, you go cross-eyed. You're like, well, okay, well, what do I do with this?
Right.
So there again, the agencies that I see that are thriving are the ones that can provide quick data, provide the right data, but also be a true consultant and say, in this maze of numbers flashing across your screen like the Matrix, you should look right here. This is the cool part right here.
Right.
Yeah,
and the reasoning behind it, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. And it kind of brings me to another soundbite is that I feel like, because a lot of agencies and consultants and potentially even brand managers alike, everybody's worried they're going to get automated out of their job, right? That's the classic thing. So my kind of soapbox moment is the people that are going to get automated out of their job were probably not strategic partners or strategic consultants to begin with. So they're worried because all of a sudden the idea of uploading ads or building a report, all of that is probably going to get automated. So now it comes back to like, were you actually a good strategic consultant that was given good information? So yeah, for those that are out there still doing the true consulting game, even all the technology stuff has to happen too. But I think those people should rest easy. AI stuff's only going to enhance those folks. Yeah, it's the folks that were never really doing strategic consulting in the first place that are in trouble.
Right. Totally agree. Travis, this has been awesome. Thank you. I could spend hours with you because I just love talking about this stuff. I love figuring out where the impacts are in every industry, right? AI and data and automation, they're disrupting in a really good way right now, right? Again, who knows where we'll be in a couple years or 5 years or 10 years. I don't even think about that. I think about right now, what can we do have a positive impact? And you outlined it perfectly, right? Get the grunt work out and help your clients and your partners make better decisions by using the tools in front of them. But tell everybody how to get in touch with you guys at HK, because I know there's people that are launching brands or have brands. And actually, I'm thinking of a few now that have been struggling that really need to talk to you. So tell them how to get in touch with you guys at HK.
Yeah, absolutely. So the website is hkdigitalmedia.com. You can find us on LinkedIn, just about everywhere on socials. But yeah, go to our website or just reach out to me, Travis, at hkdigitalmedia.com. Yeah,
we'll have one thing that below in the show notes when we go live. So 100%.
Love it. And not to get too salesy, but we one thing that we do up front is we give free consultations. We build these reporting dashboards for free up front. We do free paid media audits. So we kind of try to put a lot of our work out there up front before anybody needs to talk partnership. So even if you're just looking for some free advice, we're here for it.
No one cares about everyone knows we all need to make money, right? But we want to do it the right way together. And I love the way that you guys give value. Give first. You always get, the universe comes back tenfold.
Completely agree. And just another little tidbit on that, we don't sign long-term contracts because of that whole ethos.
Yeah.
Every month we should be able to provide value to you, or you can split.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a more honest way of doing business that a lot of other agencies aren't doing.
Yep, 100%. But yeah, I love that. That's everyone should operate that, and that's what a true performance marketing agency does. So, Travis, thank you for spending time with us, and thank you for sharing your insights. I think this is tremendous. I can't wait to get this out. We definitely have e-com founders who listen daily, so hopefully they get in touch with you guys and they see that what you guys can do for them to move the needle with their brand.
Awesome. Thanks, Brent. Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on the show. I'm just grateful for having the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you. And guys, that wraps up this episode of Future Proof. And this is why you need to watch every day. It's not for me. It's for my incredible guests who keep providing great value, great direction, and great insights across various industries and where you need to be partnering and leveraging AI data and automation. So until our next episode, thank you, and we will see you tomorrow.
If you're ready to embrace change and lead with innovation, be sure to subscribe and never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in to the Future Proof Podcast.